play down Vincenzo, target your lady.
3.
A round with Sonic Boom versus the big bad of the meta right now, Blue Green.
Yeah.
Already shuffled up. Hey guys, I'm here with Malferon, and we are here to talk about Sonic Boom, his Sapphire Steel deck that I'm super excited about. I cannot wait to play it. Matt's probably not going to like me after I play it, but we're going to throw the deck up on screen now, and we're going to talk about it. So Malferon, will you just introduce yourself first?
Hey, yeah, no, thanks for having me on. My name is, well, my tag name is Malferon. Depending, on YouTube it'll be Malferon, on Twitch it'll be Malferon MD. I'm a physician in real life, and so I'm a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist by trade, but a Lorcana player by night. And so, yeah, excited to talk about this list, and it's one that I've been pretty passionate about in set 10. And I feel like I've had some reasonable success just playing against other people, but at the very least, it's extremely fun.
That's what matters. Is I think that you really have to have a deck that you enjoy playing. Because if you're not enjoying playing it, then what are we doing, right? No. And that's kind of the Sapphire Steel family motto, right? Like, we gotta have fun while we're playing. # not a cult. But if you guys haven't checked out Malferon's content before, we'll link all that stuff. He's on Twitch all the time, always testing out some spice. That's originally how I linked up with him, and then we've gotten to know each other and become friends. And we'll get links to all his socials and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But talk to me a little bit about, so I've got the list up here on screen. Yeah. I like what I'm seeing. Cards I'm very familiar with. We've got Cindy, we've got Goliath, Kita Cluck, All-Stars last meta. Go ahead. I'll just let you run with it. What are our lines? What are our matchups?
For sure. So let me kind of start with the vision of the deck, and kind of how it sort of came together. So coming out of set 9, Fabled, right? Sapphire Steel lost a lot of its kind of core primary tools for maintaining the ability to control an opposing field, but then also like follow up with a strong established win condition, right? And so, we went historically prior to Fabled, prior to the rotation, where we had a large myriad of removal tools, we had a large myriad of drawing engines, and then we also had a large myriad of win conditions, right? Like your Lucky Dime, a lot of people would play like locations and stuff like that. And so a lot of that got very simplified and Fabled, and people were just trying to figure out, well, how does one, like, what are our strengths, right? Our strengths are that we still have some lingering removal songs like Strength of Raging Fire, and then we have a strong ability to leap into like quote unquote end game, right? With these big bodies that have impact immediately on play, right? So like Vincenzo, a Santorini who can do 3 damage on play, a Hades Infernal Schemer who can just ink an opposing character on play, things like that. Arthur King Victorious who can allow a character to hit a ready target. And this was strong, but when we kind of, when the meta would kind of settle, Sapphire Steel still had a hard time of really solidifying itself as a deck that could confidently manage all situations, simply because these lines were, 1, very predictable, and 2, it put too much focus on big bodies that soaked up too much of your turn and too much of your ink. And so if you had a way to get rid of them, like Emerald Songs or stuff, it was a little tricky. But then also a lot of these were like 1-for-1 removal points, right? And so Hades, Vincenzo, and so it had a hard time dealing with wider boards. And so there were definitely options that were toyed around with, but with the introduction of Whispers in the Well in set 10, we had 2 major power spikes that to me completely opened up options here. So the number 1 was Cinderella, clearly, right? This allowed the 2-4-6 ramp line more consistently. For people that maybe are less familiar with a lot of this Sapphire Steel alternative language, right? When we talk about, when we say the word ramp, that means ink additionally in the same turn, right? Like allows you to ink one.
Additionally.
That's why we're here, baby. Let's go. That's and right. Then so when we say we ramp on, so when a 2-4-6 build references, it means that like on turn 2 or at 2 ink, you can play something that inks additional time. And then on 4 ink, you also can play something that allows an additional ink to then catapult you to the following turn, which will allow you to play a 6 ink character as fast as turn 4, which is really cool. Now, this was achievable prior to Whispers in the Well with Pleakley, but it was a little more awkward, and he didn't have the ability to sing 4-cost songs, which historically was very relevant with Then Along Came Zeus. In Fabled, it wasn't as relevant because we only really had strength, but now with Whispers in the Well, it becomes very relevant again to be able to sing 4-cost songs because of He Hurled His Thunderbolt, which is his very exciting new card, 4-cost uninkable steel song that does 4 damage and really allows an answer to a lot of challenging things in the meta, like Genie, Wish Fulfilled, and just evasives in general, but just a lot of four will-powered bodies. And the cool thing about Ariel, and why I really wanted to push for Ariel, is that she plays really well with Cinderella Dream Come True. You know, like when you play her at turn 6, or even like a little bit later, she allows another Cinderella trigger, allows you to ink additional times, allows you to, there it is again, baby. And then allows you to draw a little bit more, but then also gives all of your songs reach, like meaning that like you get that extra bit of value out of every song you sing. As in the era of less consistent draw, really getting to utilize your ink and squeeze every little bit of value out of it. Look under that couch and find those pennies and really squeeze a quarter out of them proves extremely valuable. And now we have our ammunitions expert, Goliath, who at the end of every turn kind of restocks the armory with potential song ammunition. And so with these strong synergies, I really felt like, okay, we have a new song that does damage. We can stretch the area farther. We have someone to refill songs with Goliath. And then we also allow someone to play her faster with Cinderella. Because one of Ariel's hardest things to have her be effective historically was that if you couldn't shift her, which really only Amber Steel did way before pre-rotation, but if you couldn't shift her, it was actually really hard on when to play Ariel Sonic Warrior.
Yeah, because we used to just play her basically in Mama Odie builds.
Yes.
She was fun, but it was rough.
Very fun, but it was hard to like time when was the right time, because when you play her with 6 ink, it kind of messes up your natural Sapphire Steel curve, because then you can't really effectively play Hades or Vincenzo or Arthur the next turn and use her trigger and sing her song, right? And so I was like, okay. But then that makes the natural point to play her would be at like 8 ink, because then you could play her and then you could sing with someone, and then you could use the last 2 ink to, after you sang with someone, to use her trigger to actually be effective with her. But then classically what happens by then is that your hand is so low and depleted that you don't even have the song you would want to use at that turn, because you've probably inked it already, like if it was strength or something. So this presented a conundrum where it's like, well, then the best way to kind of utilize her historically, and especially in Fabled, was that you hope to draw into her when you had the extra ink and you had a song in hand. So, but Cinderella kind of solves both these problems, because now Cinderella,
honestly, it just clicked for me as you were describing it with Cinderella. So I'm gonna take a stab here, and then you can
go for it. Yeah.
So we're gonna play Cinderella. We're gonna ramp on 2. We're gonna play Cinderella, right?
Yep.
We're gonna ink an extra turn. Next turn we're gonna ink. We're gonna play Sonic Warrior. Then we're gonna Cinderella affect the turn after, and then we're able to ink again. So then we have that extra ammunition, and then we can play Goliath or whoever else.
Exactly.
We have that too.
You can play a 6-drop. You can sing
in the vision.
You can pop Ariel. Exactly. So it's the first time in like Lorcana's history where we can functionally, without a shift line, play Ariel on curve, and then opens up the ability to keep playing threats like a 6 body, like a Goliath, like a Tinkerbell, like another Ariel, and use either Ariel or Cinderella, or really like Captain Hook or Tipo, but I'm much faster, to sing a song to trigger her to keep gaining advantage, and your momentum has not been interrupted at all. And so that's not the line that always happens, and it's not the line that's always the right line, but the fact that it's even a possibility
powerful
completely changes the options and expectations for other people. You're no longer predictable. You have completely different lines that people don't know what to do with, which then makes you more deadly.
And that's kind of always been the strength of Sapphire Steel in general, when we have been able to build in a way where we're kind of responding to whatever the meta is. People can't predict what we're doing. That was kind of the duck list that I pushed a lot last set. We won multiple set champs with it, took it to CCS, did well with it. That whole deck, a part of its identity was just confusing your opponent and making them make really suboptimal decisions because they weren't sure what you were going to do next.
If you keep up the quack, how are they going to attack? They don't know what's going on.
That's it.
And so with the Sonic Boom list, so the name's kind of fun too. So I made an Infinity version of this for an Infinity event. Prior to this Infinity event at my locals, I named it was just called Princess Ramp, right? I was like, it's got Namaris, it's got Ariels, it's got Cinderella, it's got Kitas, like this, sure, it's kind of a filler name, but it was an Ariel list. And when I made the Infinity version, You know, and we'll talk about some of the stuff in this list because there's some obvious spice in this list. Down in New Orleans it's like a bad habit. I just can't shake the one of. And like every day I go through the struggle of I gotta pay my bills, I got kids, and do I change that to a fourth hurl? These are the daily struggles.
Me and Sebi tried to cook a down in New Orleans Xeno list for a long time in Fabled with 6-drop Hercules. We tried for a while, so I understand.
It's a clunky card. It's a weird card. It's a high roll card, but it is an extremely fun card. And I'll paint a vision. Hopefully, it becomes more appealing after I kind of talk about why I really like it. But anyway, I'll go to this Infinity event. I make a Sonic Warrior list. Everyone's expecting me to bring Sapphire Steel items. I'm well known to be a Sapphire Steel player at my locals. And I was like, I'm gonna pull a fast one. So I bring a whole new world list. So I bring Sonic Warrior, and I do nothing above 6 ink. It's all like Cogsworths and Ariels and Tinkerbells, and it's just a bunch of Down in New Orleans, whole new worlds.
Nice.
There is not many things as funny as you have an Ariel sing Down in New Orleans, and you pop out a free Cogsworth, and you already had another one on board. Yeah. And then people are just angry, and so it's a special kind of beauty.
R.I.P. Cogsworth,
my brother. You know, he went to the nursing home in the stars, and so I named that list Sonic Boom Infinity. Then a good friend of mine, a good friend of the Sapphire Steel community in general, Sevi, right? He's always willing to test anything. So he took my list, made his own version. He named it Sonic Boom, and I was like, it's so obvious, of course. And so then I took what he named as Core Constructed and just retrofitted my list to be called Sonic Boom. So that's the idea, to in honor of Sonic Warrior. So to sort of touch on what are some typical play lines that you might want to consider and think about? We kind of talked about one, right? Just the obvious and the classic one. And so I'll start off with kind of generic, this is what I want. And then we'll kind of, later explore a little bit more of what some matchups might look like. Okay. So in a dream world, right? So a build like this, so this is like a strong foundational build. I will talk about some tech slots. Tech, for those that are less familiar with like terminology, tech is like the idea of what are certain cards that can be swapped out, and their role really is to address certain problems that other decks present, or certain weaknesses or holes that you would expect whatever you plan to bring the deck, like to your local scene or to a tournament, etc. And so this list right now is a pretty strong foundational list that's meant to do well in a pretty general field. If you're on the play, right? And if you're not expecting your opponent to be, like an Emerald list, right? And then they may play like an early Webby Vanderquack, you can play Develop Your Brain, which allows you to try to really solidify having that turn to ramp like Sail or Tipo, and then having your 4-drop like Kita or Cinderella. In the ideal greedy world, you want Cinderella, but Kita definitely has her places to shine. And so then you'd play your 1-drop. Ideally, you'd also just ink and pass. You want to keep that preservation in the hand. You would play your 2-turn ramp. Again, in an ideal greedy world, it's Sail, but Tipo honestly helps a lot against many other matchups. It kind of keeps people in check. He actually functions as a much faster singer, which is kind of cute later on. And then you would play Cinderella on 4. Now you kind of get a gauge on what you really want, right? So the dream line, this is what I call like the fantasy line. The fantasy line is that you play Cinderella, right? You go to 5, you play 6 on the next turn. You play Ariel, right? You keep Cinderella up. You want to have her be a safe singer. And then the next turn, because you played Ariel, you're at 7. Next turn you ink to 8, right? You would have Ariel sing Down in New Orleans, right? And then she would pop out a free Tinkerbell. And then you play Goliath. Your hand either should have 1 card left, or 2 if you didn't play. You should have 1 card left after Goliath if you didn't play like a hook or something, or if you passed. If you did, then maybe Goliath is your last card, right? Because you're at 8 ink, right? You paid 2 with Ariel, you killed or you banished something, right? Sorry. And then and then at the end of your turn, Goliath draws you 2 cards. So you now have 3 massive bodies on board. You've eliminated something, and you've refilled your hand. And then I've basically never lost a game where that's happened. And so
I'm sold.
It's just overwhelming. And that's where the Down in New Orleans just feels so good when you get to play it in the Dreamline. And then, when you're removing something while playing a free Tinkerbell, a free Goliath, a second Ariel, a Cluck for bodyguard, you just kind of pop out this warded bodyguard out of nowhere. It really just feels like you just eliminate options from your opponent. They're just like, how's that fair? It's like, well, this is a silly card. Kind of how else, like more conservative games, right? Let's say you're going the Cinderella line. You would maybe spit out like a Tinkerbell to help establish the board. Cinderella could sing Strength of Raging Fire or Hurry-Hortus Thunderbolt to get rid of other threats. And then when you play like either a Tinkerbell or Ariel, you can make the decision on start laying down your constant 7-drop bombs. And the nice thing about the 7-drop count in here is that I'm running a very high Beyond the Horizon count. Most people will cap at 2. I think that's the average. Many others who want to stretch its consistency will go to 3. It's actually not very common. People will do 4. I played with this in Fabled. I got very comfortable with 4. And this does run a high uninkable count, 18. I think with proper practice with Cinderella and Tipo, you get very comfortable with this uninkable count. There's actually very few games I brick. And so you just have to kind of gauge like, well, Hades is actually not as valuable, right? Because you have Ariel to stretch out your removal. So you feel okay inking him with Cinderella and he'll arrive when he needs to.
Right.
Similarly with other things, right? You just kind of get comfortable dumping those. And but if you're laying down your 7-drop after your 6-drop, what's really nice is that you allow yourself then to play Ariel, ink again, you're at 8 ink, and you can now use your 7-drop to sing Beyond the Horizon and pay the last 2 ink to remove. So this is like the conservative line is what I call it as, where you play your conventional 6, your conventional 7, and you play Ariel after that when you reach 8. And normally Beyond the Horizon, singing it to draw feels kind of bad because you're giving up the ability to challenge and contest the board. But Ariel kind of solves that problem. So when you play her, she allows you to keep fighting the board, but you're also drawing and refilling your ammunition. And so, and you're only using one character to sing because it's a 7-drop. So that's kind of like the other more typical line. And feels really smooth.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. Honestly, I cannot wait to play this deck. I was already sold, but you sold me even more.
It's got it brings back a lot of that like old school tool set feel of Sapphire Steel, which just really scratches that special itch.
Yeah, it does.
Now people might ask like, well, when do you play Kita, right? When does Kita feel good? I would say in most situations, you could think of Kita and Cluck as your emerald counters, right? So Kita and Cluck play really important roles when you're playing against Emerald. Because what will often happen with Cinderella, this is especially true when you're on the draw, with Cinderella and like you're playing like a 6-drop like Tinkerbell, Goliath, Ariel, etc. after Cinderella, they will almost always reserve a removal song like You're Welcome, Mother Knows Best, etc. to specifically snipe and get rid of Cinderella or that 6-drop and completely undo all the advantage you've been trying to do by inking very fast, right? And so if you kind of recognize, okay, I'm playing against an Emerald player, if they don't get to use those songs, it really upsets a lot of their math. Oftentimes they're setting up for a big Clarabelle draw, so they really want to You're Welcome something to give you more cards so they can draw a bunch of cards and dump their hand. They've been not inking it, so they've been inking other valuable cards, right, to conserve that song. And so when you play a warded character, they're like, fine. But then, you use Kita's effect, you trigger her and you ink an additional ink. And then with Kita, she is a 4/5/7 card, meaning that like when you play her, she can ink a card, but it's exerted, which means you're playing a 5-drop after her, thus Namari and Cluck. And you play Namari commonly when you're playing into steel matchups, amber matchups, or other blue matchups. And you play Cluck commonly if you're playing into emerald matchups. Many purple matchups, not all the time. Purple steel can sometimes be Namari, sometimes Cluck. It kind of depends. And then like ruby matchups. So when you like play Kita and then you have like a warded Cluck, many Emerald decks will just not know what to do. I one time broke a friend's brain and he's playing, Emerald Amethyst, and he's like, I'm gonna play 5-drop Hades. Let's make a deal. And I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna send the Cluck to your bottom. I was like, well, actually, you can't target anyone, man.
Yep.
They're all warded. He's like, I don't have any other play lines. I'm like,
that reminds me of I had a set champs back in set 4 where someone attempted to go a Cogsworth that I had been stacking damage on, and I was like, nope. Can't do it. Yeah. They try to Cheshire Cat Cluck, can't do it. They try to they try to go her because you're probably fighting with Cluck a lot. They can't do it, right? It completely breaks the brain. They just don't know what to do. And then when you have Kita Cluck, you can sing Beyond the Horizon, right? So if they do get a juicy Clarabelle, you just immediately punish them. And then you start slamming down your 7-drops. And what's nice about Kita Cluck is that they are safe, guaranteed singers for Ariel. So when you slam down Ariel, you have these people that can just start unloading ammunition for her, which feels really good. So that's kind of their purpose. I found that a lot of
of decks just don't know what to do when Cluck's on board. And if they like try to tickle her down, right, deal with her, that sets up like Tinkerbells and Vincenzos and Ariels to just clean the field afterwards. And so sprinkling 2 damage on a lot of their characters, most people don't like to do. So they kind of just let her do whatever she wants, which then allows Ariel to set up. So that's kind of like their intended goal. And then what's really nice about Kita is that because she looks at the top 2 cards, you put 1 on the top of the deck, you can just keep setting up songs for Ariel, which feels pretty nice.
That's one of my favorite things about Kita, and pretty much any build chooses like late game. Let's get those T-Pos off top of that deck, put them in the inkwell. Let's get our value on top.
That's what I'm talking about. No such thing as a bad top deck with her. So I do like her. So that's like most of the play lines. You know, you have a lot of your key tech come in. You know, I think one card I'm really trying to squeeze the value of and really kind of get a good read on is But I'm Much Faster. This is a 1-drop song. This is new with Whispers in the Well. Again, we got a lot of cool new songs in Whispers in the Well. So, you know, appreciate you, Ravensburger. And so, you know, this gives a chosen character +2 challenger and alert, which means they can challenge evasive characters. That's all in a 1-cost song. That's an inkable song that does all that. That's so much value loaded into one thing. It doesn't draw you a card, that's true. But with Goliath, we kind of care a little bit less about that. So with Goliath, you know, you kind of run into this awkward situation where by the time you kind of set up your first Goliath and you're drawing 2 cards, hopefully, you know, if you're drawing like constant big ink, it kind of feels bad. You're not optimizing the use of Goliath. So kind of what you want to see with Goliath is like, you want to see like a 7-drop or another 6-drop, but then you kind of want to see like a song, right? And the cool thing about I'm Much Faster is that you can sing it with hook. You can sing it with Tipo. You know, you can have these, you know, petite little guys suddenly be able to boost, you know, your 4-drop, boost your Cluck. Your Cluck's banishing genies, right? 4 willpower characters. And then you get an aerial trigger off that. So that felt, you know, I've had, with I'm Much Faster, it allows a Lexington to remove, or a Tinkerbell to remove a Prince Philip, who's a 6/6, right? So things, I've seen a lot of value come out of I'm Much Faster that people don't often anticipate.
Well, even if you, like, we're in a game point where you didn't see your ideal stuff and all you got is Hook and Tipo, like, you can have Tipo sing it and then Hook can take that genie out. Like, so there's a lot of utility there. And I'm starting to wonder why it's not 4.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of like, there's like a spiritual debate on song count when you play Ariel, right? Some people will say, they'll look at a list like this and they'll be like, you don't have enough songs. You know, I was like, it'll look like a music school. What's going on here? I guess what you know, I think a trap someone could fall into when you're building an Aerial Sonic Warrior list is you try to put enough songs in to really make her triggers, her value consistent, right? And I think that often sets up people for poor deck building because they overcompensate. They sacrifice other areas of need in the deck for having too many songs. And so, you know,
I think traditionally I think traditionally too, that count when people talk about it was usually Sonic Warrior wasn't by herself. It was usually in a Mama Odie build as well.
Exactly.
But
so there's that double synergy.
8, you 12,
14.
You got 14. So you're just a few shy off that old Steel Song standard of 16-8.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd say the magic number you're aiming for is the low end is 12, and then the kind of the top end I'd say is like 16. And so if you're with 12, which is totally fine, you're thinking of Ariel purely as a convenient add-in, right? And so if you're running 12 songs, I'd probably recommend just doing 2 Ariels, right? You're hoping to see her when you see her. With 14 songs, I think you start to commit a little harder to Aerial Sonic Warrior as a legitimate, more consistent option. And so I'd then recommend pushing her to 3, which I have in this list. And with 16 songs, you kind of, you know, you weigh a little bit more risk. You know, where else are you giving up that number, right? Are you giving up some consistency slots, right, with Develop Your Brains? Are you giving up some tech slots, right? So like in my current build, right, so this is a slightly older version, I'm trying out Lexingtons, a couple Lexingtons in the place of the Develop Your Brains. So again, sacrificing some of that consistency for more variable options with evasive control. And then I'm also running a single Steel Pluto champion for when you run into the odd Emerald Chromacon decks, or like you know, the book that Demona reads, was it the Grimoire something?
Yeah.
And
or,
so,
you know, the Woodchuck Guidebook, right? Like,
Woodchuck Guidebook, Amethyst Chromacon, Carpet Bag, right? So there's a lot of like cheeky items that no one's running removal for. So that's things I'm testing out now. But when I have tinkered with 16 songs, it always felt like, you know, there were very, very few games where I'm like, I actually needed that many songs. You know, I feel like I found the songs when I needed to between at around 14. 14's felt like the sweet spot number, but you know, that doesn't mean it's, I think people have tried higher song counts and they like it. I think I found I'd rather use those slots to address other problems. At that point, I feel like my removal options feel good. I kind of want to make sure I'm not showing weaknesses in other areas of the game.
Yeah, you're putting more tools in your toolbox, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of where I settled. Now, a lot of people have kind of, so with OD list, right? So I have an OD list. I love OD. I have a list called Ocean Waves that really tries to utilize OD and like the Jafar and kind of like, you know, inking and doing cool things with ink. So much additional ink. And then OD list, it is very common to run a lot of the really good 3-cost steel songs. You know, I'm Still Here, When Will My Life Begin? These are songs that draw a card. Both of them draw. When Will My Life Begin tells a character they cannot challenge until the next turn. And then I'm Still Here gives a chosen character +2 resistance next turn.
Disrupts that opponent's game plan.
Exactly. Very good songs. I did test them for a little while in this list. I found that like with Ariel, I wanted to more commonly be proactive, right? So I wanted to put the pressure on them and I didn't want to rely on extra added bonus being reactive, being things like you can't challenge or resisting. The other thing is I kind of found that the card draw, actually, I didn't really want it because by the time I would play the song, I know it sounds very strange, but the time I would play the song, it's normally like after I've established a Goliath or like it's at a point where I've got my other draw engines Beyond the Horizon or whatever else. And it's, you know, that card draw actually ended up hurting a few times with Goliath in my testing because I would draw an extra card. Maybe I'd go to like 3 cards, but I've already inked for the turn and I can't play anything else. I can't get rid of it. I have to discard it now. And so it actually ended up, you know, eliminating some options. And so I found that like what's supposed to be an advantage with Goliath was sort of paradoxical. So I decided to forego it for I'm much faster, and I felt comfortable with that. I'd be very curious, you know, with other people's, you know, trying and testing it out, seeing how it feels. But
I think it probably feels much better in like an Emerald Seal list where they're trying to kind of like tempo you a little bit. That's probably where this feel a lot better. Yeah,
and a lot of the bodies we're playing are so big and chunky already. You know, you oftentimes I didn't feel like you needed those things as much. The last thing is the four Beyond the Horizons, right? So again, that's a very high count. If people want to drop that to 2 or 3, that's totally reasonable. And then other people will be like, well, that's interesting. You're running 4 of that, but you're running 3 hurls. He hurled his Thunderbolt. I found that like in a lot of my testing, now again, so the obvious swap is that you could just swap the Down to New Orleans for a 4th hurl. You know, that's the easy thing. You know, if you're like, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, you know, I never had my Thai food higher than level 2 spice. That Down to New Orleans, that's too much for me. You know, I need my rice white. I need my milk whole. You know, like it's, you know, and I want, you know, I need my coffee from Starbucks right now. I don't blame you. That's okay. For the 4 Beyonds, so Beyond the Horizon is an extremely scary card against Emerald, right? I think Emerald is very scared of this card. They really try to play greedy classically, and so knowing you have a card that punishes their hand makes them play very differently. It eliminates like a lot of Clarabelle advantage, which feels good. It punishes Blurple very hard, Sapphire Amethyst, and then what's nice, again, with the line that I talked about earlier, if you like play a 6-drop, if you play a 7-drop, and then you play Ariel, or like you already have Ariel, you play something else, sing with the 7-drop, singing it in a time that felt good, actually it feels pretty consistent. It's pretty rare where I get beyond and I either can't get rid of it with like a Namari or a Cinderella or a Tipa or something, or like I can't utilize it. It's actually pretty uncommon, you know, and maybe it's just the way that things end up, but I actually found that it often either arrived when it needed to, or like, you know, I had a good setup for it. What's very important in a list like this is that you really like going dry, like top decking after more than a couple turns is something that the deck really cannot tolerate, right? Like I found that like with something like Ariel, you really have to prioritize refilling that ammunition and restocking. So I went with the 4 Beyonds to kind of help maintain that momentum. If you're missing Goliaths, you're bound to hit a Beyond at some point. And odds are you either have a 7-drop or you have like a couple warded characters to sing it and not feel that.
I've even had some interesting lines recently with Beyond and some other blue Sapphire Steel builds where I've been able to kind of punish my opponents for playing Gargoyles with the Stow by Day ability, where they're like, okay, I'm going to challenge your request with this Lexington or whatever the case is. And
ooh, that's right.
They'll have like 1 or 2 cards in hand. All right, well, cool. I'm going to sing this Beyond. I don't need the cards, but I'm going to put 3 in your hand.
Get ready. stuck. There's also like a really scary opening line that you can do. It's kind of hard to like really set it up, but if it lines up, I've had a couple of people literally just quit after it happens. And so especially against Emerald Sapphire, right? So green, blue, really just Emerald decks in general. But many purple decks, Amethyst decks as well. If you play like Hook on turn 1, Tipo turn 2, and Kita turn 3, this is like 1, 2, 4, so it's 7. By this time, if you've kept it beyond and it's survived, right, you either have like 1 or 2 more cards, like you're about to empty your hand. And with this opening line, you can sing Beyond the Horizon when they're probably only at like 3, 4 ink, maybe 5 ink at best.
Yep.
And they have a whole bunch of cards in hand. They've got all this stuff they're inking towards, right? They have things that they've
crafted their hand right through their altar. Like that early BTH is like so fun to do. Hitting
that early BTH, again, I've had people just scoop. Like they're just like, all right, well, that's good. Next game. So
my opponents start drawing cards and they're crafting a hand, even if they have 3 and like I've got it and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna get rid of those 3 cards that you went searching for. You played 2 Visions of the Futures and you chose 2 cards out of the 3. We're getting rid of them.
Yep. I'd say like, so there's a lot of plays to play Sapphire Steel. Really big competitive approaches is having a 2-4-6 line like Cinderella with Ariel as an option, having like in this amount of songs, having like 2-4-6 lines, and then playing things like Headless Horseman, having and then like utilizing having access to Cinderella, but then instead doing things like Jasmine, Steady Strategist, Shifting, and try to using more allies as a draw engine. I think these are like the very common, really big meta builds right now with Sapphire Steel. So I would say that for the Sonic Warrior builds, areas where she really shines is, I'd say, where the others kind of struggle with. So yellow, Amber, Emerald, Dogs. Ariel, I feel, does really well with. They can't really hide when she's hitting 2 characters at a time with songs. So just staying ready and hoping you can't address that is actually something that she handles pretty well. She's extremely frustrating for Purple Steel, right? Amethyst Steel to deal with. 8 willpower is just like, oh my gosh, they just complain. They hate it. Like, what do? They're never going to strength that, right? And if they do, you've probably already lost. If they Elsa that, like running like so many bodies into that also feels bad, and then you just do Tinkerbell the next turn and you wipe their whole board. And so like oftentimes they kind of just ignore it and go wider because they just like the dealing with her just takes too much resources, right? And so they kind of just hope that you don't have songs, and they sort of just keep going. So Purple Steel, she actually feels pretty good in as well. She feels amazing in the mirror. She has turned every single Sapphire Steel mirror in my favor because she's that extra reach. She allows you to get rid of enemy Hades's, enemy Arthur's, enemy Vincenzo's far easier because of her added 3 damage that she can keep poking and prodding people with. He hurled his Thunderbolt and then an aerial trigger. I mean, you just got rid of a horseman, right? And that's 7 willpower. So yeah. I think those are like matchups she really shines. She also like things like red purple. So Amethyst Ruby. She also is extremely frustrating to deal with as well. Because again, they don't have easy answers for her, and then she can just keep popping all of these like very small will-powered Ruby characters very easily with her.
Yeah, and you can even hit some of their illusions with the but I'm much faster as well, because Iago's currently seeing a return to the meta.
Exactly. Suddenly your hooks are getting rid of genies, and then you pop a Headless Horseman with Ariel's trigger, and you just kind of smile and you give a thumbs up, and then the other person leaves.
Yeah. Well, I think this list looks incredibly fun. I cannot wait to play it. So let me ask you, tech slots, right? We kind of touched on a little bit, but what are your? I know you've kind of moved past. We kind of captured this in time where it's at. You've been continuing to test and build. So what are our tech spots that players could consider?
Yeah, so I would say right now in the current kind of where the competitive scene is at, the hardest decks to deal with in general are going to be your Emerald decks. I think Emerald, for this style of Sapphire Steel, which is like, you want to ramp to big bodies fast, they have just really good ways to deal with large will-powered bodies, right? They have essentially delete buttons. Mother knows best, sends it back to your hand, doesn't matter how big it is. You're welcome, just sends it to your deck, doesn't matter how big it is. They play Hades, they could potentially send it to the bottom of the deck, it doesn't matter how big it is. Prince Philip, they just sprinkle you with 1 point of damage and then they banish it, doesn't matter how much willpower it is. So Emerald really has a frustrating kind of counter to a major survival advantage that Sapphire Steel has, in that like everything has massive willpower. And so I'd say like Emerald decks are kind of a big area that I've been thinking about how to tech against as well. And then like, evasive, really ever since Fabled has been a huge part of the meta. And with Emerald removal, so like, green, purple, but then also like Ruby Amethyst is making a comeback. And then Blurple will always find a way. What are kind of areas to tech for? I would say that like, what I'd consider tech slots would be the 3 Develop Your Brains, the 2, I would say all the 5 slots, right? So the 2 Clucks, the 3 Namaris, and then the down in New Orleans, right? So if you want to go down, and the 2nd Arthur. So I would say I used to run what I call the 414, right? With the Bash brothers. So that's Hades, Arthur, Vincenzo. And so I'd always almost do like 4 Hades, 4 Vincenzos, 1 Arthur. With the rise of Prince Philip and the ability to shift in and sing and board wipe as early as 6 ink with the warded Prince Philip, the 3-drop, I've found that being able to address readied characters is more important than ever. And so with more warded characters, Arthur, I think, really makes a strong comeback. I bumped up to 2. Ever since I've gone to 2, I've never looked back. In fact, I have a list with 4. And frankly, I wish I could run more. He's so good. No one anticipates him. No one plays around him. And as soon as he drops the board, they kind of smack their head and they're like, of course. And then he's questing for 3 afterwards or singing Beyond the Horizon. So I would say that but you can go down to 1. I'm a big believer in that you need to have at least some way to address a readied character that's warded. And if you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure. But I think, some people might be uncomfortable with 2 or how to play with 2, and that's okay. So if you want to go down on your Arthur, 1 Arthur count, that's fine. If you wanted to drop down to New Orleans, that's fine. If you wanted to drop 1 Beyond the Horizon, go to 3, that's fine. I would not recommend with a build like this going less than 3 Hurls, less than 3 Beyonds. Tech slots to consider, and then you can notice I run 3 Captain Hooks. Many people will often run 4 if you're going to run a 1 drop to kind of fight early shift lines or whatever else. I found that 3, this is me being a little greedy here. I found that 3 feels right. I find him when I want him. That's less bad top decks in the later game. He's also not bad in that when you have a Goliath and you're drawing 2 and you have 7 or 8 ink, you have a 7 drop, you have now a 1 drop. You're I could play both. Sure, why not? Empty my hand, get 1 more body on the board. So Hook's not a bad card. Sure, there's many points in the game you'd rather see something different, right? You'd rather see a Hades or Tinkerbell or something. So I try to minimize those bad top decks. Most games he ends up being ink. 3's a little greedy, right? And that's okay if you want to slot and bring down your Namari to 2, bring down your Cluck to 1, or bring down your Arthur count to 1, but do 4 hooks. That's totally fine. I would say for the 5 drops, you can swap out Lady Cluck and Namari for whatever counts of Scuttles, right? If you want a really big, scary 5/5 quest for 2 warded character that you can play after a Kita to then launch into a Clarabelle with Arthur, right? So Kita, Scuttle into Arthur, and then Scuttle can basically take out almost anything in the game.
Yeah.
To be able to quest for 2, right? A lot of your early bodies are not questing for 2. And so that kind of feels good and he can quest safely. So Scuttle's kind of cool. You can also consider the Pluto Steel Champion for item removal, a catch-up mechanic, right? Your steel characters, banishing characters, you gain 2 lore. Everyone's a Calhoun. Everyone's in the Marines now. And then, so I'd say those are your really big kind of 5-slot swaps. And then I would say if you're going to run Kita, now you see she's at 3, you could bump her to 4. I'd say most games 3s felt really good. 4 felt excessive. Some people just get rid of the Kitas. They only do Cinderella. I find that even if you don't think of her as another ramp line, having a 4-cost warded singer has been immeasurably valuable in so many games. So even from that standpoint, I think she's just a strong add-in.
You said my favorite thing with her too is that late game filter. Let's get those T-pos out of here.
Exactly.
Let's draw bombs.
She's value beyond just being a ramp engine. So, the really greedy top end optimal build is to do 5 or the 4 5-drops. You could do 4 Namaris, 2 Cluck, 2 Namari. I would say, again, if you're expecting a lot of Emerald, a lot of purple, Cluck is very valuable. And then, you can splash it. So my current build, I'm using 2 Clucks, 3 Namaris, and 1 Pluto Steel Champion. And, I may go down to 2 Namaris. I may adjust things. I'm still trying to feel out how that card feels. And then, I've dropped the 3 develops for 2 Lexingtons and that 1 Steel Champion with Pluto, and kind of giving up that opportunity for that early consistency, because I've been finding in the world of shift targets like Webby, Vanderquacks, and such, and with things like Ruby Amethyst and Sapphire and Purple Steel, really wanting to play a lot of characters wide, I've found less and less games I've wanted to play develop, and I just need to get Hook on the board. And so delay turns even a little bit. And so that's kind of what I've swapped out for now. But yeah, so I would say that one of the Beyonds, the Down in New Orleans, one of your Arthurs, The 3 develops all of your 5-drops. These are kind of in flux for you could move these around and play other 5-drops. Increase your one cost count, maybe increase your consistency, go more on develops, maybe even add in 1 or 2 visions. All of these are very reasonable tech swaps.
Okay, I like it. So I think we, at this point, we've been chatting for a while about the deck, and I am itching to get to some gameplay. So before I throw it to the gameplay table, Malferon, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so I would say the place where I interact with people the most is definitely Twitch. So my Twitch tag is twitch.tv/MalferonMD. Normally after like 8 or 9 p.m. Central, I'm like one of 2 streamers that's
Late Night Crew.
And so, you can all probably just find me there. On YouTube, my YouTube name is Malferon. So that's MALFERON. And I think those are the 2 areas I hang out with right now. I'm not exploring X or Instagram or anything of that stuff right now, but maybe I will in the future. So, we'll see. And so I love interacting, with kind of people that are exploring Lorcana, in our Twitch chat. A lot of the chatters, the regulars, they love to help provide advice. We love giving deck feedback. And so, please swing by, toss some comments, chat. We like to think ourselves as and I do think of us as a community more than just me. When you're hanging out with me, you're hanging out with the community. And so I think we have a very kind and open community, but that one that just wants to get better and have fun.
Well, Malferon also put out a really great video recently, so you'll want to play Sapphire Steel, right? So we're going to link that in the description. You need to go check it out, get some more insight here. Thank you, my friend, so much for coming on the channel and sharing your knowledge and your thought process and this fun looking deck. You know what? We'll have to do this again, right?
Well, definitely.
Maybe one day I can show up on your Twitch as well. So we'll figure it out.
We will definitely figure it out. Jeff,
I'm in the chat from time to time.
No, this is going to be one of the many, and so appreciate you the additional Ink team. Not only for today, but just being just such a great part of the community. And so I think I speak for many of the fans that we say we're just so glad you guys are here and doing what you do.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it, brother. And so stick around. I'm about to transition us right to the gameplay table. We're going to be playing this deck so we can see it operate, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. And this won't be the last you see Malferon here.
Take it easy.
All right, guys, I'm here with Matt. We are ready to try out the Sonic Boom gameplay and showcase the deck a little bit for you guys.
Yeah, should be a good time.
So we just got done with our chat with Malferon, and now we're going to go. I'm going to pilot Sonic Boom, and I actually don't remember what Matt's piloting. We talked about it, but I forgot.
It's like one of 2 things.
Yeah, one of 2 things.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and cut your deck. Because we already did shuffle.
Yep.
And then we'll roll for first.
Oh. You know what? That one is sticking out. It wants to be on top. There you go.
Okay.
You got like the super fun cut. All right. Oh, high roll. Let's see.
Yeah, I rolled a 6.
Oh, that's a 7.
You got it.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a nice little stress test for you. 7. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, my friend. Good luck.
All right. Let's see what I want to do here. This is not bad. This is honestly not bad. I think I'm just gonna keep.
Oh, that's scary. I think I'm gonna mull 4. I'm gonna mull 4. Alter 4. Okay. All right. So yeah, I've always played around with some Sonic Warrior builds and very much enjoyed them. So I'm excited to give this one a try that I have not yet.
Yeah, we like Sonic Warrior here, so hopefully it goes well.
She's got a gorgeous enchanted too.
Just
you kept, right?
I did keep, so yeah.
Okay, that's scary.
Yeah. All right.
On you, my friend.
Cool. I'm gonna ink a go-go, and I'm gonna play a lady and pass turn.
I will draw. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to ink a Goliath, and we'll get down a hook, and I'll pass.
All right. Already. Draw. So here we will. I'm going to ink this tramp. I'm going to play a daisy, so we'll trigger, and that'll get +1.
Okay.
And then I will play a Webby, giving this another +1, and then Webby this ability will give this +1. So it has 3 and it will quest for 3.
Okay.
I'll go to 3.
All right.
And I'll pass to you.
We'll draw. I think we're gonna ink this sail. We're gonna play Tipo. With Tipo, we'll ink that card.
Yep.
And we're gonna take out the lady.
Yeah.
with the hook.
Yeah.
I
Figured.
It's free trade.
Yep. I was a little greedy with the 3 lore, but you know, that seemed like a fun line to show off.
No, it was absolutely great. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna ready and I'm gonna draw, and I'm gonna do a nice fun little thing here. So I'm gonna shift this Webby for 2 and quest before I ink, because my opponent has 3 ink, so I will get to do a 1 jump effect. So I'll be at 5. And then, oh yeah, wait, I paid that. So we will quest for 2 more, go to 7, just be really aggressive. All right, you got an Amari, and I will pass to you.
All right. All right, so we are actually going to ink. Let's see. So like here. I think we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna ink this Sonic Warrior. We're gonna play down Keto.
Yeah.
And Hook and Tipo are gonna take out Daisy.
Okay, so 1 back on each.
Yep. And I will pass.
All right, so I will ready and draw. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna ink this Bobby. I'm gonna play a Pluto. I'm gonna play an Emerald Chromacon.
Okay.
And then I will just hold here and pass the turn.
All right. We will draw for turn. We're gonna ink a develop. We will play a Namari.
Okay.
Namari's effect. I'm going to actually discard this Beyond the Horizon.
Yep.
I will use Kita's ability.
Yep.
We'll put that one into the inkwell. And I will pass.
All right. Ready here. Draw. All right. So I think what I'll do. Oh, this is fun. This is a fun card. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play Lady. And then I'm gonna pay 1 for Finnick and pay an extra 2. And I'm gonna bounce your Hook back to your hand, just to get a little bit of tempo back and kind of protect some things. And since you have more ink than me, I'll just go ahead and quest here with the Webby to 9. And I'll pass to you.
Okay. All right, we'll draw. I am skipping the Namari effect this turn because I knew it was on top.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, and we're gonna do a couple things here. We're gonna play down a Tink.
Nice. All right, so let me mark some damage. If I can find the ones. 1, wound, wound, and wound. Here we go.
We will use Namar. Nope. I'm gonna do that wrong. I'm gonna quest one with Tipo.
Okay.
I will quest 2. I will then use Kita to swing into Webby.
Sure. So when Webby is banished, I get a Chromacon trigger. I will send back. The Tinkerbell's not good here because that wipes 2 of my things if you replay it. I think I just send the Namari back for tempo here.
Okay.
Because I can't target the Kita. And yeah, okay.
So I'll ink develop. And I'll play a Hook.
Okay.
And I will pass.
All right. So I will ready. Draw. Play a Lady. This gets +1, so it is a 1/3. White matter. Not sure what to do here because we have the Tinkerbell.
We've stalled.
The Tinkerbell does a good job of stalling in this matchup. So there's one way I could go. I could just kind of be aggressive in quest and just rely on my ChromaCon triggers to kind of slow you down a little bit, and just see what I hit. But I'm really not questing for much here. So, and you have how many cards in hand?
I have 3.
3. Decent chance you have another tank. So I think what I do here is I am just going to quest with these 2 here, and this one as well, because we would just lose them.
Okay.
So I'll quest for 3 and just hope I draw into something decent.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ready. Draw. All right, so make sure I sequence this correctly. We will take the lady with the Tinkerbell.
Cool. And then you have a trigger on banishing.
We will. Actually, I misplayed that. I missequenced that. But that's okay.
Do you want to back it up?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Let's back it up.
No,
just so
I don't, because we're showing off a deck here.
Yeah.
So
what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to quest first with these 2.
there you go.
Now I'm going to swing the Tinkerbell in.
Right. So you banish this, and then your other trigger happens. So here's the question: your other trigger happens during the challenge, and then my ChromaCons go off, correct? Or does this? So yes, because you're active player, yours will happen first.
Mine will happen first. Yeah. Her other ability. So I'm actually going to target the Finnick.
Okay. So the Finnick is gone. All right. And now I get 2 emerald. Oh, what am I doing there?
He's still got. Yep.
Yep. He's still got 1. So I have 2 ChromaCon triggers. Definitely want to send the hook back.
Okay.
I cannot target the Kita, so you sequence that really well.
Except for when I mess it up in the beginning. But.
No, but like as far as like what you did choose here was good. So the question is, do I just send a Tinkerbell back and just... I mean, I would lose this to potentially Kita anyway, because it's not hitting back for anything. I think I will just tempo you a little bit and send the Tinkerbell back.
Okay.
Not sure if that's the right move, but you know, someone will tell me.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is swing Kita into the Pluto.
And then I'll have another trigger. I will bounce the Tipo.
Okay.
Because why not?
So then for turn, I will ink Tipo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will play down Vincenzo, targeting your lady.
3. I guess I will bounce the Vincenzo just to keep you from questing for 3.
And then I will replay Hook.
Cool.
I will pass.
All right.
That's a pretty good sequence.
Yeah. Okay. Eventually that'll matter. Go ahead.
All right.
I do like this blue steel list. It's pretty strong into aggro with the hooks.
So actually I'm going to start off. I'm going to play Namari.
Yep.
We'll draw. I will discard, but I'm much faster. I'm actually going to ink Tinkerbell. We'll play down Cinderella.
Okay.
I will Kita effect. That one there. That one there. I will quest for 1 with Hook.
Yeah. Why not?
I will end my turn, and due to the Kita effect, or the Cinderella effect, I will ink that card to draw this card I just looked at.
Seems good.
And I'll pass.
All right, it's already in draw. Play a lady. That's all I can do. I'll pass to you.
So this ChromaDogs deck, as it's known, can Namari effect. I'll discard how much faster, draw per turn. So the ChromaDogs deck has it has a lot of like potential to like really swing. But interestingly enough, we actually have an answer to get around those ChromaCon triggers too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Is it Hades?
We're gonna Hades.
Yes, for sure.
To the inkwell. And then I will Kita effect.
Yep.
Put that one in the equal. And then we'll quest for 3, 4, go to 10.
Sadly, Hades
Oh,
isn't a princess, but
No.
to kind of piggyback on your point with Hades, though, Sudden Scare is also not bad in this matchup. You are giving ink to your opponent, but like
Gets around that banish requirement.
yeah, which is really nice. All right, so I'm just gonna play out what I drew. We're just gonna get hand information at least. I'm gonna play this Ursula. Oh, so I do get to rip the hurl out of your hand, so I'm okay with that. And then that's all I got. So go ahead.
All right. Basically, I've been holding this Arthur because the dog deck does have the ability to draw a ton of cards. Namari effect. So now my hand will go up. I'm actually going to get rid of that one. Then I'll draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll plus for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7 going to 17. Yep.
6, 7.
Oh boy.
And then I'm gonna hard cast a strength.
Okay.
Ursula.
So 2 Chromacon triggers.
And I'm just playing control, but
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's really not much coming back here. I guess what I'll do is I'll bounce the Aerial and the Namari,
okay,
because I don't want to give you another instant removal on play.
that makes sense.
And then, yeah, we'll see what I hit.
Your turn, my friend.
All right. And I just hit a lady, and that's pass to you.
We'll draw for turn and ready, and then we will quest for game.
Yeah, good job.
Hey man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought you
What?
had
Where was the draw? I'm like not seeing it.
you had me in the first half.
Yeah, I was admittedly a little aggressive in the beginning with some of those quests. Like I probably should have held on some of those, but you know, it is what it is.
Now fixing that Tinkerbell sequencing with the challenge. Now that would not have had an outcome in the game because it was just too lore. But I wanted to make sure that I was doing the moves correctly because that's what we want to do when we're practicing.
Yeah, you still were overwhelming me there. It's not like, you know, the things I had were still gone and I didn't draw into bodies.
But the real sequence of that turn was basically doing the challenging, leaving Kita upright, challenging Kita with the character that she would not trade with, so she would survive, and then holding the Vincenzo and their removal until after all that had happened.
Yeah.
That was the key sequence in that turn.
Yeah, I think it was rough not hitting the big tramp or the shift lady in that match, but
I was afraid.
Hey, like the point is like that deck does really good into aggro. And like if you sequence correctly, like ChromaDogs isn't unbeatable. So
no.
There you go.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with the next game, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right, guys, we're back. We're going to play another round with Sonic Boom versus the big bad of the meta right now, Blue Green. We've already shuffled up, so we're just going to cut and roll for first.
Yep.
A 4.
5.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I will
for
pick
me.
a play. Good luck, sir.
Good luck, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 4 back.
I did 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up doing 6.
Fair enough. Sometimes you just got to do that.
Yeah, man. Full send it.
Full send.
So how are you feeling so far about this Sonic Boom deck?
How do I feel about it? I think it's a really full deck. It performed really strong in that ChromaDogs or ChromaDog game.
Yep.
Yeah, really impressed by some of the stuff it can do so far.
All right, whenever you're ready, my friend.
All right, so I am going to ink a You're Welcome and play a Clarabelle No Kicker because I can't, and I'll pass.
All right, we are going to ink. We're going to ink a develop. We'll play a hook.
Okay.
On you.
And draw. I think we're going to ink
another you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hit turn 2 ramp, so I'll just pass there.
Oof. That's all right. That deck definitely has the ability to...
Yeah, I can come back.
We're going to ink a sail.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play a T-Po.
Yep.
We'll ink that card. And I'll plus for 1.
Cool.
And I'll pass.
All right, I will draw. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to ink them. And then you have 4 cards in hand.
I have 4 cards in hand.
All right, so I'm just going to play a Prince Philip and pass the turn.
Okay. We're ink T-Po.
Mm-hmm.
We will play a Cindy. I will quest for 1 with hook.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of my turn, I'm actually going to ink that card to draw a card, and I will pass.
All right, so ready and draw. So you have 3 in hand. Two. Gonna ink this Clarabelle. I just haven't been able to make her work this game. I'm gonna drop a Donald down.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I just passed there.
Okay. Draw. We're going to Sonic Warrior.
Yep.
We are going to play a Tinkerbell.
Okay. So that puts 1 on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Should really just have these all on 1s because we play Tink so much on this channel.
And I will go ahead and quest for 3.
Yeah.
Go to 5.
Seems good.
And I'll pass. Tinkerbell's not a princess, so.
Yeah. She kind of looks like one, but she's not.
Donald draw?
Yeah. I think it's better to get the body down. So I think what I'll do is I will ink the develop.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm netting a card either way, just one way gives me more selection. But doing it this way, I will have 2 in hand when I play this Clarabelle I just drew, and I'll draw that card.
The last turn you were like, oh, it's awkward.
Yeah.
But the Donald got it.
The Donald did get it for me by missing my own trigger.
You got the value.
Still got there, still made up for it. And then just to be efficient with ink, I'm gonna play this sail and draw.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can ink again. So I think I'll ink this baby Philip.
Mm-hmm.
We will probably do some challenging here, I think. So I think I'm gonna put Donald into the hook.
Sure.
And just to give myself a little bit of breathing room, I'm going to trade the Philip with the Cindy here.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna quest this Clarabelle.
Sure.
Because she'll get blasted either way.
Gotcha.
And I'll pass to you.
All right. We'll draw for turn. We'll pay down 6 for another Tinkerbell.
There it is. 3. That's really nice, actually. Really good turn.
I'm gonna ink T-Po.
Yep.
This Tink will take the Donald.
Yep.
2 damage there.
I got you here. 2. Boop, 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 boop.
And I will quest for 1 with T-Po, and I will pass.
Ready here. Draw. Gonna ink this Clarabelle. Pay 7. I'm gonna Hades the undamaged Tink.
Sure.
And pass the turn.
Okay. We'll draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna Vincenzo Hades.
Sure.
And then Tinkerbell's gonna sing.
Nice.
And I'll quest for 1 with T-Po.
Yes.
Pass.
Good. You got it. Flaunt it. All right. I'm gonna draw. Well, that's just ridiculous. Top deck the Hades on the Vincenzo.
Sure.
Not much you can do about your opponent getting that. I'll pass.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 damage.
Yep.
I'll quest for 3.
Yep.
Pass.
All right, so ready, draw. Gonna ink this big Phillip. And yeah, I guess.
To challenge or not to challenge? That is the question.
I think I have to challenge. Like you have a lot of pressure here. The question is, do I challenge the Tinkerbell, or do I and let you get one, let you get one less lore next turn, or do I challenge the Tipo and make you have to decide if you want to get that lore? I think I'm actually just going to challenge the Tipo.
Okay.
Because I don't have another thing I have to worry about protecting with the Tink, so I think that's the move. I'll pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for Goliath.
Seems good.
I'm gonna ink this Goliath. I'm actually gonna quest for 5 here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End of turn, I'll draw 2 with Goliath.
Yep.
And on you.
All right, so all ready and draw. You have... Yeah, I should have probably just hit the Tinkerbell last turn. We will ink this Phillip. We'll pay 9 for this other Phillip. At least get rid of the Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
I'll quest for 2, go to 3. I'll pass to you.
All right. We'll draw for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I heard you really like Tinkerbells.
Oh yeah, give it to me.
I'll ink Sail.
Yeah.
Play Namari.
Sure.
Quest for
5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to 20.
Yeah.
My head, I was
Yeah.
15.
Good job, man.
That was good.
Well
and we
played.
got to show off the nice Goliath enchanted.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. He came out. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, so as you can see, Sonic Boom, we didn't get a single Sonic Warrior trigger off, but sometimes that's the thing is like Malferon was saying, it's very toolboxy, right? So you've got different tools for different things. It's very fun to play. Just try it out, and also make sure to check out Malferon's YouTube channel. There's, he's got a nice. So you want to play Sapphire Steel guide up there, so you can get a lot more info. Once again, thank you to Malferon for coming on the channel, chatting with us. And, letting us showcase his deck a little bit. So that's all I've got. Matt, you got anything else?
No, that was fun. I enjoyed that. It was a good match.
So remember, here at Additional Ink, there's plenty of space table left for everybody. There's plenty of ink to go around. And if you haven't yet, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.